Hello guys and girls, it is I, Aaron Halo 18 here, and I'm making a video about Halo 5 Guardians discussion, series episode 49, I believe, and the article I'll read is Brute Force by Grim Brother 1 from January 1st, from January 29th, actually, of this year. And it says, this weekend, cannon fodder, we learn a bit more about a forgotten chieftain. Issue 60. Welcome back aboard the lore train, ladies and gentlemen. Last week, we dropped a pretty heavy bombardment of juicy, fiction-focused topics. As you'll quickly notice, this week will be a much lighter and stealthier affair, though hopefully no less enjoyable. The studio is hard at work on a myriad of fronts, stoking the fires of forges, both known and unknown, some far flung in the future and some far closer than you think. This week we thought we'd offer a particular peek into the backstory of the Gerald Hanedi. Well, one in particular. It's the Brute race, I guess. Though many of you have no doubt encountered him many times. You've never known his name until today, that is. Let's go ahead and dive in, shall we? Deep links. Near the end of Halo 3 level, the Ark, players come across a Brute chieftain surrounded by minions. He knows who you are, and he's picking a fight. Some players, however, might not realize how unique this particular encounter is. The typical fare is get in there, clear out the ads, take out the boss. It's in some ways ingrained in our gaming muscle memory. This fight is a bit different. It's not different, however. This one's a bit more personal. The chieftain isn't out to simply end you. He's out to do it alone. 1v1 me, bro. Keen-eared players can even hear the prophet of truth tell him as much. As players come down the final ramp towards the encounter, you can hear the chieftain call you out. When the duel begins, if you don't attack his surrounding pack, they won't attack you either. It's just you and the chieftain, until you come out on top. Once victorious, his morning and mechanical minions will try their best. Maniacal minions will try their best to even the score. Were it so easy. The Chronicle of get the Gus. Gilligas had always known his time would come. For over a decade, he had led his pack with fervent conviction and fierce, renowned Cathigas had climbed the ranks of the Chidori society armed with a deadly mixture of cunning and bloodlust. He'd outwitted Kigyar mercenaries and liberated the ridiculous mandibles from many a Singhili's skull. Singhili is the elites. Actually. He'd slaughtered scores of humans across countless systems during the relentless march of the Covenant. He served the prophets and honored the path. But still, one thing remained elusive to him. Opportunity. That all changed, however, within what seemed like fleeting moments. Tertius, the self-proclaimed turned prophet, ordained chieftain of the brutes, had fallen in battle, cut down by the treacherous Sanghili arbiter and the unforgivable human demon at the site of the sacred rink, meaning Master Chief. They call him Master Chief a demon. Demon, actually. The notorious despise that left a power vacuum that missed a perfect storm, the natural progression of catalyst and consequence, quickly accelerating as the Covenant neared the rapidly approaching threshold of the great journey. Divine circumstance that brought Gethicus and his pack to a mighty fortress of the gods, far outside of the galaxy itself. They were as part of truth's forces, the Covenant, and the Gerald Henny themselves stood primed to ascend. If only these filthy and unworthy interlopes could be stopped. The demon drew near, and Gethicus himself had been entrusted with halting his progress. As Gethicus saw the demon emerge from the chamber hallway, he felt almost relieved that his formidable stalkers had failed to quell the humans' progress just moments earlier. No, this was the chieftain's divine hour, a fact made ever more clear by the prophet of truth's ultimatum heard resounding through the nearby table. You must win this fight on your own. Surrounded by his loyal fighters, Gethicus drew fortitude from their frenzy and activated his holy hammer to take Tertius' place at the right hand of truth. You need only do one thing: finish the fight. Truth and reconciliation. Relentless pack, a restless pack 79 said, is the elite assault harness in Halo 3 and the elite ranger harness in Halo 2 one and the same? Answer: in many ways, Singularly Ranger harness is effectively a highly specialized example of the more quintessentially encountered. Obscurity encountered and labeled assault harness. And while the EVA-centric Ranger Sparrow shares many different aspects of its functionality and construction with the assault harness, they are still, for all practical purposes distinct systems as a special threat, as a special treat. We've included a development render of the final model used for the Ranger helmet and Halo 2 Anniversary if you want a fun fiction quest to embark on. Compare the helmet design here with the variant Ranger harnesses used in Halo 4, Halo 5 Guardians, and especially Halo Reach. There's some very cool combat design, language, and features throughout the various patterns that help tie them all together in fun and interesting ways. And that will do it for this issue. On a bit of a housekeeping note, you'll notice the number of weekly full universe encyclopedia entries he reduced for a spell while spool energies and other exciting directions. However, along with this, we'll actually also be increasing the frequency of some of our deep links features to be a bit more often than originally planned to help tide you over and state your ravenous cravings. So there's a little post from Chef Easterling at Grim Brother 1, and it said, "Happy birthday to Spartan 3 Lucy B091. Award January 28th, 2553. Who shares a baby with at Halo, web producer at Siren, another compact super soldier. Also, in case you missed it yesterday, yours truly hit up the Twitterverse with a happy special birthday message to Spartan 3 Lucy B091. Not just special because it's Lucy, but special because it's the first time we've published their birthday. January 28, 2553. You never know where the cannon might creep up on you. Before we close, a bit of weekend viewing advice. Make sure you keep an eye on the Halo World Championship stream from X Games Aspen 2016. I hear it's a pretty cool event that doesn't afraid of anything, just saying. Until next week, live well, play Halo, and when in doubt, always trust your instincts. Grim. And the new universe entry this week, Forwarder Dreadnought. Forwarder Dreadnought, also referred to as the key ship, played a vital role in conserving life in the galaxy. Origin Forwarder, height in flight 3,349 feet, 10,734 amp. Beam in flight 4,817 feet, 12,441 m. Length in flight 43,046 feet, 13,120 m. Summary, generally referred to as the Dreadnought, and due to its formidable size and firepower, the immersed Forerunner key ship supported the Liberian during the conservation measure, transporting species to the Ark for indexing and Archival until after the Halo rigs fired. Once the Flood was defeated, the Dreadnought assisted in reseeding the Milky Way using hidden subspace portals placed throughout the galaxy. However, long years after the conservation measure had drawn to a close, an enduring shred of a medicine bias would awaken on the Ark and access the ship, hoping to utilize it in an effort to reach humanity. Unfortunately, the Anchilea's journey would be cut short, and the vessel crashed onto the Tenshium homeworld of Jericho. Its impact creating an enormous sea, which would come to be called the Great Apathy. Many years later, the Tenshium would regard the ship as a religious artifact. Nelly? Keep us there? Artifact. And eventually, a radical sect of the Tenshiums took into space in an effort to find other Forerunner artifacts. During the travels, the Tenshium encountered the Shanghaili species of the world of Ulethon, and after a series of devastating battles across a number of colony worlds, the Covenant was forged. The ancient Forerunner Dreadnought, which still had Medicine Baya's permanent shroud, was installed on the heart of the holy city of High Charity, though this effectively decommissioned the vessel as a weapon of war and went on to provide power to the entire station. It acted as a central point of worship for the Covenant. In 2552, the High Prophet of Truth abandoned High Charity, taking the Dreadnought with him and leading a vast Covenant fleet to Earth. On Earth, the same Dreadnought was used to activate a long permanent portal propelling Truth and his forces to the Ark. Well, that's it for this article. The other article is Canon Folder, Judges and Juries by Grim Brother 1, 2/5/2016. This week in Canon Folder, we look at some details behind the new look of an old friend. Issue 61. Greetings, you narrative noodlers, and welcome back to another edition of Canon Folder. It's been a busy week behind the scenes lately, so our lighter portions continue, but seeds are being planted. I'm doing a video live. I'm doing a video live. Okay. So, 10-2, and rows carefully watered. Here's something that the eventual fruits of our love-laden labors taste sweet upon your yearning taste buds last week. So we tossed some much desired attention over the roots way, highlighting the backstory behind the ultimately tragic tale of a chieftain Chandler. All the way there.
All the way?
Yeah.
Dude, you cold.
This week, we're switching to up the normal way of things and provide a bit of a different flavor of character angle. multiple angles, in fact. Oh, and there was that thing that you saw over the weekend. Might as well get that out of the way first. Trust your instincts. Halo and Killer Instinct Season 3. Tease. Bewildered Buzz bridged two Xbox franchises this week during the Halo World Champion Tour at X Games Aspen 2016 when Killer Instinct's latest character tease seemed to imply the impending inclusion of a particularly popular character from our own beloved universe. We can't officially confirm. We pushed too much there, right? Confirm that who it is. Yeah. Some more. Hand 4 die. But it's highly likely that it starts with an A and rhymes with a. My hand back, right? With a arbiter, other than that. Back more. Other hand back, right? My right hand back. Hand for it. That's my dad interrupted my video. Other than that, you'll get no more hints from me. Seriously though, trust me when I say that it's something that I'm personally very eager to talk about, and talk more we shall. Today is not that day, but soon. In the meantime, you might as well watch the tease over again and see what details you can pick out before we properly blow the lid off of this project in the near future. Assembly required. On the Halo Waypoint forums recently, a couple of community members were inquiring about character reference material for Cortana, specifically regarding the evolved way she manifests as in Halo 5 Guardians. That sounded like a pretty good idea, so I set up the signal flares to some of the talented folks in the game and art department to see what we could pull together. The result is a pretty solid collection of renders from multiple angles that Halo fans will find useful as reference material from everything from cosplay to fan art as a bonus. I spammed 343 Industries Brian Reed and Tim Logo with infuriatingly annoying internet memes until they provided some cool contextual nuggets to pair with me. They're the render from 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. It's just different pictures of Cortana. They have 5. I was just looking at them. You can go to this website if you want. It's the Halo official website. Is where I got these articles from, by the way. And Grim said, how does Cortana's new looks fit her evolution as a character from earlier Halo games? Tim said, Cortana has always been very soft in appearance and almost deceptively vulnerable in some ways. When she took the mantle and declared herself basically the ruler and caretaker of the galaxy. We wanted to also update her look. Brian said, and from a fiction standpoint, it's not actually a stretch, particularly when you take into account the mermaid of new abilities she gains thanks to her access to the domain. In the first draft of the ending, she was going to wear a flowing gown, have long hair, etc. She would be very regal, very powerful, high queen. Very obviously different than she was. Tim said again, when Chief first sees Cortana, again he says, you've changed, and that was both as a reference to her appearance and to her behavior. Grimm said, were there any specific inspirations, whether in Halo or out of it, to inspire particular details? Brian said, we talked at first about how she might model herself to be more like a Spartan. That since she'd go for the greatest symbols of strength that she knows. Tim said, and that led to discussions about maybe she would assume a Forerunner design. We really showed that she was leaning on her past, with John and her future as holder of the Forerunner's mantle. So we started by layering new ideas on top of her design from before, trying to build on who she was while also showing who she had become. Brian said again, the big moment for me was when one of the artists, and I think it was on the Axis side, worked the Forerunner's Eld symbol into design. The Eld is a visual representation of the mantle. Having her wear it was a nice way of having her own it too, from a symbolic standpoint. Grim said again. Speaking of Axis, how was the progress working with them? Tim said, Axis is phenomenal. Great work. Brian said, I first got to know them during Halo 4 and Halo 4 Spartan Ops. They came back for this scene, as well as the opening and closing scenes. Tim said, the Cortana work for the cinematics was all performed and captured at Profile WB in Los Angeles. Profile then made adjustments to the face shapes with feedback from our character team and Axis. Final facial animation tweaks were then done by Axis and animators with direction from Steve Dick and Brian Goodrich. And Dick is spelled D-Y-C-K. And Brian is spelled B-R-I-E-N. And Goodrich is spelled G-O-O-D-R-I-C-H. Here at 343. Grimm said, any thoughts on being excited about how the community might be able to use references, cosplay, fan art, etc.? Tim, I'm excited to see what our fans can do with these references. We've met plenty of bodysuit Cortanas in the last few years, and they're always amazing with blue makeup and the wigs. And Brian said, I met one woman who dyed her hair blue just for the costume. That was either Halo Fest or San Diego. I forgot. Tim said again, really? Like, instead of just a wig? Brian said, dedication to the art. Man, I love it. I hope this new design gives the cosplayers new elements to be excited about. I don't know how they're going to pull off the glowing hard light armor bits. Tim said, again, I hope someone just goes nuts and sets up like LEDs and fiber optics, and they just sets up like LEDs and fiber optics. I said that wrong. Sorry. And they just go for it and do the full glowing armored thing, as I do, Mr. Longo, as I do. And with that, we sign off for this week. Before we go though, I wanted to give a quick shout out to a new community-run Facebook page dedicated to Covenant-centric Halo Canyon called, coincidentally enough, Covenant Canon. If Halo's theoretic alien empire is up your alley, give their page a look. As for us, tune in next time for more story silvers from our favorite fiction font, and have a great weekend. Until next week, live well, play Halo, and don't expect to find cryptic clues hidden here every week. Grim. New Universe article this week. It's called Tick. The Tick is a Covenant boarding craft designed for strategic troop deployment onto enemy vessels or stations. Type 28 intrusion vehicle. Manufacturer assembly forges. Length 204 feet, 62.2 m. Width 116 feet, 35.4 m. Height 92.2 feet, 28.1 m. Summary. Though the Covenant were all too often satisfied with simply burning their opponents at a distance with plasma torpedoes and beams, there were instances when a more up-close and personal approach was deemed necessary due to sensitivity of the mission or defenses of the target. Known as the Tick to Navy personnel, the Type 28 intrusion vehicle was among the specialized vehicles that Covenant fleets used to deliver boarding parties into enemy ships and strongholds in order to secure high-value assets, destroy critical systems, and employ antimatter demolition charges. Operation Ticks were carried on most large Covenant warships and are occasionally used as general-purpose shuttles in addition to their role as a boarding craft. Fitted with extremely high thrust impulse drives, the Tick can accelerate and decelerate at bone-crushing rates. Although pilot and passengers at the mercy of the vehicle's occasionally unreliable aerial dampers. Once a suitable entry point and established, the Tick opens docking. Claspers locks itself in place and extends a breaching fortresses that bumps and bores into the enemy's hull. Once a passageway has been established, Covenant Lances are able to excite the Tick's troop compartment through the pervious and began conducting their mission. At the completion of the mission, the tick retracts the boarding tube, clamps, and boosts away. And that's it for that article. Damn, Laura. Canada, last one. Canada folder. I've been doing this for like 35 minutes now. I gotta read one more, and then I gotta be done here. Guys and girls. Canada folder, needle me this. My Grim Brother 1. February 12th, 2016. This week at Canada folder, we take a peek at a pretty racy hog. Issue 62. Our goes by Legion of Lore. Thanks as always for joining us our weekly fiction feature. Last issue, we took a closer look at some of the details that went into Grady Cortana's enhanced aesthetics, as well as teasing a cool new crossover between the Halo and Killer Instinct franchises. I know a lot of you are excited to hear more about a certain killer Caden, and trust me, we can't wait to share. This week, we're changing gears, so to speak, and taking a fun look at another awesome new Halo partnership that's about to launch next week. If you've ever wanted to pit a crazy pants Warthog against other wild rides in a mediocre rocket soccer arena setting, it seems that many of you already are, then strap in and get excited. Let's hit the paddock and take a look at what's in store, shall we? A league of its own. In case you missed it, this past Tuesday, the fine folks at Xbox and our friends at Physics took it upon themselves to celebrate my birthday. At least that's what I assume was obviously the reason. By announcing long-awaited details on Rocket League, an awesome and action-packed title that combines multiple things I adore. Sports, and now a literal dash of my favorite fictional universe. Rocket League will be speeding its way onto Xbox One on February 17th, and will feature a particularly ambitious version of everyone's favorite UNSC Splatterwagon, the Warthog. We can give you the standard fare rundown, of course, but around these parts, we figured it may be more fun to intercept a piece of 26th century correspondence instead. To E. Birch, Motorsports Manager, AMG Transport Dynamics. From T. Jenkins, Special Projects Director, AMG Transport Dynamics. Our project sticker marketing desk proposal. The transport division of AMG Transport Dynamics has a time-honored tradition for flexing their engineering muscle through competition, whether it be with their 24 hours of winning prototypes or their dynamic and durable rally hog. Model is one of their most intriguing projects, is a highly modified M12 Warthog called Project Hog Sticker. It features a number of exotic composites to reduce weight in the enclosed cockpit. Rescue from the M12 GT for increased structural rigidity. The most permanent feature of the new vehicle is certainly the pair of experimental and visually unmistakable afterburners that provide insane levels of increased thrust on demand. Lovingly dubbed the Needle Hog among the crew and engineers around the paddock. Project Hot Sticker represents a bold and exciting new chapter in the Warthog's already storied history. Potential sponsors. Funkers formed Fish, Blast Energy Drink, Club Era, Verdict, funding denied. Project fixed no known series obligation. Additional, but I gotta eat some. I gotta finish this article. Additional notes. Eric, this is cute. Oh no, where in Sam Hell would something like this even compete? I've supported plenty of your more unconventional ideas before. So plant light afterburners, that's over the top. Even for you, let's maybe quit the daydreaming and turn our focus back to react it, shall we? Tice. Truth and Reconciliation. Colonel Cyclone said, aside from Halo, Shadow of Intent, are there any profits left? Answer, though there are intended pockets of Centrum left, it's nearly impossible to make an accurate guess as to their remaining numbers. It will be easy to anticipate their evolving intentions. Rev It Up 1997 said, do any UNSC naval vessels other than the Affinity have war games simulators? Answer, while the war game simulators contained with the UNSC Affinity contain a variety of features customized to their specific nature and their crew and missions, it is certainly not the only location of such facilities. War games simulators can be found on other largely post-war vessels as well as orbital installations such as Annabelle Station and the Marota platforms and various terrestrial bases. The size and scope of each individual facility varies based on the needs and resources of their associated installation.
When I was lying there in the VA hospital, with a big hole blown through the middle of my life, I started having these dreams of flying.
CF snapshots.
I was free.
Snapshots. Quite a few fiction. Frenzied photogogs in the Halo community have asked about the next level in the CF snapshots feature. Because of this, I'm pleased to announce your next assignment. And before we begin, we've got some behind-the-scenes adjustments to how these shots might feature in the universe section going forward. However, we didn't want you to have to wait so long between assignments. So while selected entries might not immediately be integrated into an exciting universe, encyclopedia article will be featuring the top selections here in canon folder and awarding for badges to their associated community members. Can you let me finish the video, please? Let me finish it. Darling, let me finish it. Please. Darling. Let me finish my video. Let me finish it. Please, let me finish it. Sorry, guys and girls. My dad's being kind of rude in my videos there. And I need to finish this article soon. And I have to start this again, guys. So bear with me. CF snap. Turn about the argument and confusion. CF snapshots. Quite a few fiction-frenzied phonologues in the Halo community have asked about the next salvo in the CF snapshots feature because of this. I'm pleased to announce your next assignment. Now, before we begin, we've got some behind-the-scenes adjustments to how these shots might feature in the universe section going forward. However, we didn't want you to have to wait so long between assignments. So while selected entries might not immediately be integrated into an existing universe, encyclopedia article we will be featuring top selections here in Canon folder and awarding form badges to their associated community members. This also gives us an opportunity to have more freedom of the type of assignments we give out in the future. So without further ado, your new call to action is the UNSC Hornet. They show a picture of it as well. That's right, it's time to load up the MCC and grab some epic shots of the UNSC's popular aerial insect within Halo 3 and Halo 2 anniversary multiplayer. Don't forget the snow-livered Hornet on Avalanche for more info. And over to the submission thread of the universe form and get snapping. That does it for this issue. Before we go, don't forget to check out some of the awesome new toy news that hit this morning, detailing our brand new partnership with Matto. Trust me, we've got some cool collective. We got some cool collectible stuff in store that we'll be talking more about in the future. And next week, I'm actually having a brief recap of what we'll be showing off at Toy Fair NY16 this coming weekend. So don't miss it with that. I bid you farewell, but we'll be back as always next week with another look at some sweet Halo lore. So until next time, live well, play Halo, and good luck trying to eliminate a warthog with Blabite Afterburners Grim. New universe article this week. Moat shot. Forwarder design burst. Energy pistol. Recently encountered examples firebolts. And homemade horse range targets. Okay. Directed energy pistol. Ammo type, iodized particles. Length, 54.1 cm. Twenty-one 1.33 inches. Width, 9.4 cm. 3.7 in. Height, Summary. Variants of its core technologies existed earlier. The Z-110 bolt surely came in to prominence at around 2 centuries before the firing of the halo ray. The bolt shot is a close-range particle nuclear minor infantry in combat against organic tissue, such as the FCS flood supercell material which formed in the basis of the flood. Firstly, function. The UNSC has encountered multiple functionality settings within the core Z-110 design. So burst fire is initiated. The Z-110 releases an overloaded dispersal of ionized particles to devastate enemy infantry. Further encounters with the weapon have revealed an enhanced tracking function that allows the bolt shots projectiles to home in on targets. Variants. During the last ages before the firing of the ray, a Promethean warrior servant named Endurance of Will was known to carry two highly advanced and customized Z-110s named Open Hand and Closed Fist. Now their technical specifications made their way into UNSC War Games designers simulation repertoire remains a closely guarded secret among ONI personnel. Well, sorry about the yelling and screaming. My dad gets too excited about his new 4K TV with the surround and all. He likes to turn up really loud and stuff. And he thinks that I do videos at the wrong time and stuff. And of course my dad has a badass TV and surround and all. So do I. And I have a pretty cool TV too.
Hey, enough.
And my dad's yelling at me to stop. And I have to say my goodbyes now. So please rate, comment, like, favorite, subscribe, thoughts, and opinions. And I hope you enjoyed it and liked it for your viewing pleasure, guys and girls. And stay tuned for more. And my favorite quote, like Ghost Robo says, please drink some hot chocolate. And I'll see you all later. And this is Aaron, Halo 18 signing off. Goodbye, and good night, and don't mind my dad. Alright, bye.